Welcome to the International Teacher Podcast with your host, Kent the Cat Guy, Jacqueline from JP Mint Consulting, Darian the Family Guy, and Greg the Single Guy, bringing you episodes from around the world about the best kept secret in teaching. You got it, international education. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to another episode of the International Teacher Podcast. I am a co-host, Jacqueline from JP Mint Consulting, and I'm here joined with Greg the App Guy. Hey, Greg.
How you doing, JP? I switched my name just for a little bit for our listeners because I did finally get my app, not just to the testers, but now it's on the App Store.
No way.
So, Sophie, after this, you need to go to the App Store and buy my new app. All the listeners need to go out. It's a really cool one. It's called What Student, right? With a question mark. Okay. Yeah, okay. And it's a naming game, a naming learner. So if you have like a lot of students, even if you only have 20 and you want to learn their names or learn somebody else's class's names, you can actually get this app. I did it because I have 650 students. So I have to remember, you can upload your own names, you could take photos, and then there's games involved, and it has logic in there so that you can, do 20 different names, and every time you get the name correct, it takes it sort of out of that pile, right, and only puts them back in once in a while to keep you going. But other than that, if you can't get their names, it keeps going in there, and you learn. So it's pretty.
That is awesome. I need that.
Yeah, but hey.
I could really use that because I am the only counselor for the whole school, and I am
counselor
3 years
specialist.
in. I'm still
even better.
I know your
Go
name.
for it, yeah.
But
all right,
what student?
Listeners, this episode is sponsored by the app that is.
Sorry,
called
I hijacked that from you, Sophie.
Student?
Yeah,
What Student?
It's called What Student? Yeah,
What Student? And we do have a guest, and we haven't introduced
Yes, we
her
do, but it's all
yet.
about my app right now. Anyway, so let me tell you more. No, just kidding. Go ahead, JP.
This is Sophie. Sophie is calling us in from Busan. We were talking about, is it Busan or Busan? I like to say Busan. Some people say
Busan.
Busan,
and that's in
South
Korea.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hello.
And we just learned she's a counselor.
Hello, everyone.
Yay.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
So,
and nervous.
Sophie, can you tell us how you got into this gig? Like, it's not common to come across counselors in an international schools because there are usually one or two of you. And so we feel extra special. We have a counselor in the house.
Well, I feel extra special to be a counselor at an international school. It is a labor of love, and it is a career that I never knew existed even 10 years ago or 5 years ago even. It's a really interesting story how I got into being a counselor at an international school. I was working as a teacher during COVID, and the kids were just going through it like we all were. Like they were having a hard time. And I found myself sort of needing to step to the side and help the students sort of regulate. And then I started like mindfulness at the beginning of every class. And I sort of just incorporated mental health into my routine as a teacher. And then I decided no, I want to do this all the time. And I want to do this more than teaching. So I went back to school and got my counseling license and was working as a counselor in Los Angeles. And I sort of we talk a lot about social media, but my algorithm was very much like expats. Like I was constantly looking at people living in other countries. And then I began to think how can I do this? And one day I came across a post or a blog and someone was like, hey, you should, people were talking about being a teacher in international schools. And I was like, oh, I wonder if counselors can do the same thing. And so, I discovered that it was a job that I could do as well. And I found a resource to apply, and here we are.
Best kept secret in the world of education.
That was a very long story.
No, it's not even long enough.
International education is also best kept secret in international counseling. right? Maybe there's a second book or a third book there, Greg.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, it's
there's other
really.
positions.
Oh, I interrupted you. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
You're talking about that great book out there, but I was gonna say, Sophie, I think that you're in the. I don't know. You're a top percenter as far as schools,
Wow.
because there's a lot of schools that need counselors, and counselors are not easy to come by. In my opinion, in most of the job fairs, you'll see a lot of. I think your career is just going to keep getting more and more exciting, right? I know you
Yeah.
don't believe that, but I think it's just going to keep getting more and more like the top tier schools, if we want to call tiers. But there are certain schools out there and that people really want over other schools. I still call them top tier schools, and some people disagree. But anyway, my point is, as a counselor at international schools, the world is going to be your oyster if it's not already.
I just feel really lucky. Thank you for saying that. I feel really lucky, and sometimes I'm still like pinching myself that I'm able to do what I genuinely love, and in Korea of all places. So
Tell us about
yeah.
Korea.
Yeah,
Tell us
tell us
about
about
Korea.
Busan.
Where do I begin? Korea is awesome. So, I moved here from Los Angeles, and I was living actually when I first moved to LA, I moved to Koreatown, and I knew nothing about Korean culture, right? Like I'm originally from Miami, so I knew all about Latin American culture, but I didn't know much about Korea.
Didn't know there was a Koreatown. I guess there's a Koreatown, a
yeah,
There
Chinatown,
is a
every
huge
culture.
Koreatown in Los Angeles. And I lived there, and I would go to the local grocery store. I would be curious about like the writing system. Um, but that's kind of as far as it went. And then when I began working at a school in Koreatown, it was called Rise Kohyang, and Kohyang means hometown in Korean. 45% of my students were Korean. And so I was like, I want to be able to talk to those students too, because a lot of them had just moved to LA from Korea and they didn't speak much English. So I enrolled in the local King Sejong Institute, and I was like, I'm going to learn how to communicate with my sixth graders. And I began to just learn. And so when I would see them, I'd be like, "Oh, style tuayo," right? And they'd be like, "Oh, she speaks Korean." So then they peek in my office, and then they'd start to come hang out. Um, so it was kind of like a natural, like I guess, progression. Me and Korea were meant to be.
That must have been amazing for, I'm thinking, Greg, for Busan to receive her CV and see she already has a Korean connection, because I don't
True.
Yeah.
think it's very common that, we're always saying English is the language that is in all the international schools,
Yeah.
more or less, and you don't need to speak other languages, so don't let that stop you. But you had the opposite. You were like, whoa, she already has a Korean connection. This is a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
Well, it was really nice because I knew a lot about, especially for what I do in mental health. It's important. Cultural awareness is very important, and being aware of sort of how the culture I'm living in views mental health is really important. And I kind of had that practice working in my school. So when I got here, I was able to just sort of hit the ground running with understanding those cultural norms. So that was nice.
I was going
Yeah,
to
so
say,
you
with
weren't hitting people on the
teaching, you don't
head.
have to. Teaching as a homeroom teacher, you're not going to be like, oh, I need to learn Korean to move to Korea and teach international school. And we've talked
Yeah.
about that before. But in this case, as a counselor, it's just going to put you a step ahead of somebody else
Yeah.
dropping into the counselor
Um,
program at that school, because you already have, like you said, you have more knowledge, background knowledge, I
yeah.
guess, right?
I I think the universe just aligned. Like it really,
Mm-hmm.
really did. Every step of the way, I felt like, yes, I'm doing the right thing. Because I had this curiosity about learning Korean, and then I had this curiosity about going to Korea. Like it all just sort of aligned to where I was like, this is the right place for me to
How
be.
long have you been there, if I can ask?
This is my third year.
Third year. Okay,
Yes.
so you stepped off the plane, like after Miami to Los Angeles. You step off the plane and you're in Korea, and people are
Yeah.
speaking Korean, not the
Yep.
school itself, but you're off the plane in Korea. Did you feel right at home? I mean, was it that similar to growing, like working and staying in Koreatown of LA? Is it?
I'm gonna be honest, it did. And like
Yeah.
I visited Korea when I found out I got the position, I actually brought my mom and my kids because I've always been like the one who just takes all the adventures. I'm kind of fearless. I'm like I would move, I'm the one who moved from this state to that state. And so I was like, I'm gonna bring my family so they can sort of see that it's not a scary place. Um, so I had already visited several months before, and when I came back, I just felt like, yeah, like I felt right at home, honestly. And
So
I
That's
wait a
still
second.
do.
Let me just clarify. You came on sort of a scouting trip before you moved?
So when I found out I
That's
got the
fun.
job, I was like, I'm bringing my mom because my mom had never like left America. So I was like, let's go check it out so you're not scared. Like, so you're not
Okay.
scared for me. And my children also, I didn't want them to be nervous about where we would be living. So I brought them to just sort of explore and see that, oh, this place is really cool. Like, it's not scary, it's just fun.
So
It's
tell us
interesting
about
that you
that
did
trip.
that
Yeah.
after you accepted the position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like,
Because
if I
I've
could have
never.
gone to certain places, I would have done it
Yeah.
before I accepted and
Yeah.
signed on the dotted
Oh,
line.
because
Yeah,
I
because
knew I would
Greg,
love
have
it.
you ever heard of this? I've never heard of anybody doing this, and I think
No,
this is such an original idea. So can
Sophie,
we?
that's your
We
original
want
idea. I guess the wherewithal, the ability to do that, the chance to do it, to get the
to.
timing right and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
hired on, let's say it wasn't like in June and then you're gone in July, but you
Yeah.
must have hired on early in the year and then you had some time to plan out a trip, especially with your kids and your
Right.
mom. So,
Right.
if I
I
may.
did. Yep. I did get hired on. And so I had quite a bit of time knowing that I would be coming. I want to say it was like around like this November that I got the
Totally.
acceptance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
And so like I
international,
had,
right?
yeah, like right around that time. And then I was like, I knew for quite a while. And I was really lucky to be able to do that because, it's not always easy to just like up and go, right? Um,
But that's
yeah,
exciting because part of international is that it gets earlier and earlier every year, right? Whether it's a
yeah,
job fair, whether it's talking one on one with a school or a school search, but however you got the position and signed on, earlier than like 95% of your colleagues that are teaching, 99.99% of the colleagues that you're working with or looking for jobs or
yeah.
anywhere, you've got a job in November, December, even January, February. You have
Yeah.
a job set up for the next August or for the next
It was,
July. That's crazy.
can I just say it was so nice? Like I would come skipping into work. Like
Yeah.
because I hadn't necessarily told everyone that I was working with yet. It was kind of like my like little secret.
No pressure,
No
right?
pressure. And I was just so happy. I'm like, I know that I'm
You
this
give
time next year, I'm gonna
110%
be,
back to
yeah,
your school before you leave. You're not leaving under
yeah,
cover of darkness. You're like have 6 months to leave
yeah,
it with a bang and just
yeah.
wow. I'm sorry, I get excited about this
Well,
because that's my
I do
life too,
too. I get really
right?
excited. Oh,
So
okay. So
when,
you
so tell
understand.
us about the trip.
Yeah.
So when did you, was it like spring break? Because you must have had to work around
Yes.
school holidays.
Yes, right around that time. And
Okay.
the trip was great. It's funny because I was clearing off my old laptop with my son this evening, and we found the Word document where I planned everything out
Ooh.
and all the places we would go and where we would stay. The trip was fantastic. I mean, it was like, getting off the plane and Koreatown, right, is one thing, but landing in the country itself was like, whoa, like everybody's Korean. And
Right.
now I gotta use that Korean that I know. Like I can't just like, you know, I can't speak a lot of English.
Yeah, you can't default back
And
to English like Greg.
and,
Yeah,
and let me ask you this. I mean, you just keep saying kids and mom. So
yeah.
your kids, I mean, were they weren't infants. They weren't like 4 or 5. How old were they
No,
when they went with you on that exploratory trip?
second and third grade.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Still
And
young.
now they're
Actually,
older.
Actually, no. So when we went, they were in the 1st and 2nd grade.
So 6 and 7 years old. That's still pretty
Yeah.
young to be.
Yeah, but it's good enough to be aware of where they're going and be on the plane, and you're not worried about a toddler. I mean, a first grader, second grader, that's manageable for people that travel. I mean, I don't know. It depends on everybody, but I would imagine it was doable.
Something that if listeners haven't been to Korea, something they might not know is that Koreans love children. They absolutely love children. So there is no worry. Like, even if you had a toddler and you were, you didn't have one of those toddler leashes and the toddler goes running off, there is no danger with this toddler like disappearing forever. You have a warm, embracing kind of an atmosphere where they are just going to be looking out for that child who's
at least somebody likes kids.
Oh, I've got so many stories of like my neighborhood ajushis and ajumas taking care of the kids.
What does that mean?
Because, well, the
ajushima,
like the uncles and the older
your adoptive family around
like
your
tios
neighborhood.
And tias in Spanish, they're just the aunts and uncles. It really is,
and that was something that an outgoing colleague told me. She was like, you may be prepared or not be prepared for the amount of hands-on co-parenting that happens in Busan that you don't ask for. And I've got many stories of people just like jumping in and being like, maybe getting the boys in check.
Go for it. Give us one.
Yeah. Give us a co-parenting story. I love that.
Oh boy, I've got so many. I mean, like, I think of my son had just gotten a new bike, and he was, so where I live, and Busan is really interesting because there is a red path that sort of interconnects the city. And it sits behind the apartment buildings. It's not adjacent to a street. So it's quite safe. So kids can walk and ride bikes. And there's no cars, right? So on one side, there might be an apartment. On the opposite side, maybe there's like parks and other apartments. And in the middle, there's a red path. And so
this is like a sidewalk, but
it's a sidewalk,
walking area.
But it's inside, right? It's sort of away from the street. And it's the way people get from one part of the town to the next.
That's fun.
And so my son had just gotten a new bike, and he was ripping and running up and down that red path. And you're not supposed to rip and run. And I was upstairs because at this point, it's been 2 years. I'm like, kids are safe. They're great. I can stay upstairs while they ride bikes alone.
Yeah.
And my son comes upstairs and he's like, Mommy, I just got in trouble with this guy outside because he said I was riding the bike too fast and he made me slow down. And I've got so many stories like that of people just sort of like stepping in. I have another one of like a neighbor who just would like come inside and take her shoes off and just hang out.
I'm back.
Did she think it was a waiting room for a doctor's clinic? Like, what's happening?
She would just chat about this and that, and I was like, okay, like, come on in. I just go do my makeup, and she'd just be on the couch.
Like, oh my gosh, that's wild.
Yeah,
it's like a Seinfeld episode with Kramer just coming in. Go ahead, take my food, sit down, take care of the kids while you're there. But my kid outside on the bike.
Yeah, I think she was from she had lived in LA and her kids lived in. I think she felt that sort of kinship with me, but yeah, I think people just sort of jump in and help. Even once we were at the mall and one of my kids wasn't listening, and the guy behind me was like, "Hey, listen to your mom," and my son was like, "Oh, okay."
I love it.
So it's not just safe; it's like extra parenting, right? So if
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It takes.
You're not going to get that in LA, I don't think. I mean, I haven't been to LA. I've been to LA once, but I think if you have some guy working on your kids, it's going to be like you're going to lose them.
I'm protecting my children from strangers in LA for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's a different world out there, but I have never heard about how safe Korea is for families, but that's great. At least Busan, right?
Oh,
it
no,
sounds like a great place to be with family.
Korea.
Oh, all of
Korea. Yeah, it's quite, and I say this often. I feel like I'm living on another planet. I I'm able to just be upstairs if I want, and the kids can ride their bikes. So sometimes they're like, oh, and their friends live right there. So they're like, we're gonna go to so and so's house. And I'm just like, okay, be back, come check
Bye.
in with me in an hour.
Yeah, that's on our camp. I live on a camp in Saudi, and
Okay.
within the 3 or 4 layers of security, it's like 1950s. Go to the park
Right,
as a kid, and then when it
right,
gets dark, mom might be calling for me. You might walk to a neighbor's house. I mean, it's a small bubble community, but it
right.
sounds a lot different where you are because it's not
It's
just
the
a little
whole
camp; it's
country.
That's
this country, I
interesting.
guess. But
Right, you're
it's
more
so
of like in a
refreshing to
camp,
hear
a
that.
camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is really awesome as well. And I think like kids are so lucky to be in that sort of environment too. But yeah, this
Check
is
mark.
like the
Korea,
city.
great for families. Check mark.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
mark. Star.
Well, and not only that, but these kids, so your children are growing up learning a different language. So, they're
Yeah.
going to be at least bilingual. Bilingual. But they're also going to have this affinity for, blending into different cultures. We call this,
Yeah.
you probably have heard TCK, the third culture
Yes.
kid, where they sort of make up a third culture between
Yes.
the dominant one from home and the one that they're living in. And they're going to learn that, you know, people help each other, because it sounds like, that's what they're experiencing. Like, I had an ajashi tell me to slow down, and they're
Yeah.
respecting that
Oh
ajashi
yeah.
and learning that, yeah, I have to listen if someone else tells me something, not just my mom.
Yeah. I really like that you brought up the third culture kid. When I first thought about my kids living in Asia, like we watched Karate Kid together, the one with Jaden Smith. And I'm like, that's gonna be you guys. Um,
That's so
with
cute.
the braids and like,
Preparation
um,
for Korea. Watch
yeah,
Karate Kid.
The new
and,
one, the
and
new release.
yeah, and it was interesting because, right, that's sort of how it happened, right? Like we came with our culture, and of course we moved here from LA, so I would say we had sort of like a loose, like we don't have a firm sort of like way of being, if that makes sense. Like we're kind of accepting, and we've spent time amongst several different cultures. But when we came, yeah, it was like, whoa, this was sort of exactly what I imagined. Like one of my big inspirations was Kobe Bryant, whose parents, he was in Italy, and he spoke Italian, and when he came back to America, he just sort of was like this cool guy. Um, and Obama, who lived abroad in
Indonesia, I think.
Indonesia.
Hmm.
And I sort of would like show my kids these people who I admired. And I was like, it's important for us to go into the world and come up with our own ideas, so that we're not just living based upon other people's experiences, but we have our own stories. So, yeah, they are definitely third culture kids now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And they've picked up some Korean along the way, I'm sure.
They are learning Korean. They do take Korean classes. I have a tutor. So one of the things that's been really nice is I've been able to get a tutor come to the house. So she teaches math and they have Korean class. English is the common language in their school, but their best friends are Korean, and they spend time at their best friends' homes and listen to their moms, yell from the other room in Korean. So they have picked up some common words and phrases. Um, they are
I
not
just know
fluent.
kimchi and bulgogi. That's what I know. Those two
That's all
words.
you need to know,
That's
and
But
pretty
I
it's
good though,
love
delicious.
Greg. That's pretty
kimchi.
good.
People
Yeah.
think it
Yeah,
smells, but I think it smells great. I love kimchi. I'd have
it's
Korean parents
delicious.
give me
Well,
kimchi as a gift sometimes, and
it's
bulgogi. We
strong.
go to a Korean restaurant, but that's just me,
It was
and that's on the fringe.
it's what's that called when you
Acquired
acquired
taste.
taste. Thank you. Yes,
Yep.
it's an
So am
acquired
I.
taste.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you are
What did
most
you
certainly,
think?
sir.
What did you both think of kimchi when you first tried it?
Well, I hated it. So I lived in Korea for 3 years, and
Yeah.
it was 2 years and 6 months before I found the the gateway kimchi. The gateway kimchi was served in this restaurant, and it had a lot of sugar in it, and it was really sweet. It wasn't sour. And
yeah,
I tried it and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the
this is
best
the
I've ever
one.
had. And I ate the whole thing. I asked for more. And they said, oh, you like kimchi? I said, no, I actually hate it. Like, I can't believe this is so, so good. And
Yeah,
that was the gateway. And then after that, I could eat the sourest kimchi, and I love it ever since. But the
yeah.
irony was 6 months before I'm leaving Korea, I discovered kimchi.
Oh, well, the
Never
nice thing
never
is, like,
heard
it only
of
gets
gateway
available.
Gateway
kimchi.
kimchi.
Gateway
It's the
kimchi.
sweet stuff. But
Oh my goodness, I love that.
what we're talking about kimchi, I mean, I love talking about food in general, but did
Yeah.
you know that kimchi is such a um tailored side dish? I don't want to call it a vegetable because it's so much more than that, but it's such a tailored, customized
Mhm.
side dish that I don't know if it's still happening in 2025, but I have a suspicion it is, that new brides, newlywed couples will move into the groom's house so that the wife can learn from her mother-in-law how to make the kimchi their style,
Oh, the
so that
family.
she can carry that on with her husband. And
Ah,
do you think, Sophie, it's
yes.
still happening in 2025?
I am sure that it might still be happening. I know that there are certain things that might be changing culturally, but I think those sort of like at home nuances are still happening. But that's a really good question.
That'll
I'd
be
have
fun for
to,
you to investigate,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I need to go
Because
find
it's
out.
also a cost saving. Newlyweds typically are in their, well, when I was there in the 90s, it was like in their 20s. They were really just right out of university. The gentlemen usually have already served in the Korean military, because it's conscripted,
Uh-huh.
enforced military service. So they've done that. They've done their university. They're just starting out their salaryman sort of
Hmm.
job, and so they can't afford a house. They can't afford even
Hmm.
probably an apartment. So they move into the parents' home to
Hmm.
learn so the wife can learn all the
All the
traditions of
side
the family.
dishes.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And
I
then
think,
even when they
yeah.
have kids, sometimes they stay because they kind of have like built-in built-in nannies or
Yeah,
built-in babysitters.
I
So it's
actually do have a
really a
friend who
very
lives with her
supportive
parents.
family system.
Yeah, I do. I actually had breakfast brunch with a friend with two of my Korean friends today, and yeah, they're at home with her parents and their son, and they love it.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, when you
really
grow up in that system, it's natural. And for us, I remember coming in and, being completely single, without kids, and I'm in my late 20s, and they thought I was like already an old maid. Like, look at me now. But at 26, they were like, "You're
um,
not married?" And I said,
yeah.
"No, and no kids, no." And living on my own in my own apartment, they were just thinking like this
Mhm.
was so strange. And keep in mind,
Mhm.
late 90s, there weren't a lot of foreigners in Korea, so it was still pretty
Right.
new.
Oh yeah, you were
And they
kind of
just
like a
thought this
pioneer in
was,
that way.
yeah, they thought it was so strange because every one of my Korean girlfriends in their 20s, in their 30s, were living at home still. They, like,
Yeah.
none of them had their own place.
Yeah, yeah, I do see. I think, like I said, I'm still learning more about the culture and observing where I can. I think that there are some changes from what I've heard, in terms of like independence, as much as can be, because it is quite expensive. Cost of living here has gone up exponentially, I know, since the 90s. And so people really are working hard, and some people are on their own and some people are still at home, and I think like everybody's just like doing their best contributing to this amazing society.
All right, let's take a moment for a little commercial about how to get in touch with us. You can, of course, find all four of us at the itpexpat.com. That's www.itpexpat.com.
Or you could also find us at email at internationalteacherpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Or if you're into Facebook, we have a new Facebook group, at www.facebook.com/groups/ITP expat, where you can find all kinds of inside information about ITP expat.
You can also find us on Instagram at International Teacher Podcast. This is our handle.
All right. And thank you, listeners. We have over 100 countries represented by our listeners. And though we're not monetized, we are here for you. And we would like to thank all of you for listening. So let's get back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about, if you can, tell us a little bit about your school. We'd be very curious to know the sort of system. So it's an American affiliated school, I think, with US curriculum. Like, how much does it feel like working in the States, and how much does it feel like working overseas?
Ooh, good question. So yeah,
come up with them every now and then.
This is a good one. It is an American curriculum school. It was founded by a military personnel and American military personnel and his Korean wife. And they had their half Korean, half American child who was sort of like struggling to find his way in a Korean school. And so, as we know, Korea is very homogenous. Here's this like mixed kid, and he was having a hard time. So they started their own school. And so that was sort of like the foundation. In terms of, does it feel like an American school? I would say yes and no, right? International schools are their own like their own, it's its own thing, right? An American public school is very different just in general to an international school altogether. So it does feel quite like it's a little bit of a bubble. The kids are quite innocent compared, I think, to a lot of our American kids. They don't know a lot about American culture unless they have moved here from America. We do have quite a bit of American military children, which is great. And I do have, and there's a military affiliated counselor who works on staff 2 days a week to support me with those kids. But there are also a lot of Korean kids as well, a lot of kids from Russia and sort of like different parts of the world. So I don't think it really feels like an American school from my experience, but it is like a little bubble.
And who's the staff? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Tell us about the staff, because the school sounds like it's for students that are multinational, it seems like, and a lot of Korean, a lot of some American. So mixture. And what about the staff? I mean, is it purely American? Is it a lot of Korean? Is it a mixture? How?
So I do think it's important to say, if the Korean students come to the school, they do have to have lived abroad for 3 years. So the Korean kids do have world experience. That's one of the components of them being able to come to our school. But the teachers are all American. And then there's like 2 sets of staff. We have the American staff and then we have the Korean staff. So like the office staff is all Korean. And then
so
we
almost
have
like the support staff, anyone that is supporting the school is going to be on a local contract, a local hire.
Correct.
And then anyone that is a full-on teacher in the classroom, they're going to be strictly American, or do you hire Australians, Canadians? Like, is it just Americans?
I'm combing through all of my coworkers.
Yeah.
And
sounds like just American. If it's not even Canuckies, huh? Don't have any Canadians.
Canuckies.
I could be wrong, but I want to say everyone is American. Maybe there's some people who are like, we have teachers who are Taiwanese descent but grew up in America. We have some Korean Americans who work there.
Well, the
But
fact that
yes,
you have to you're sort of stumped about it speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
Because some international schools, when I was in Cambodia, we had people from everywhere, right? Like everywhere. Where I
And that's
work
cool
right now,
too.
where I work right now is it's really just focused on American and Canadian and a few smatterings in between for the main core teachers, right? So I would say hands down it's Americans. There's a couple Canuckies in there too. I love the Canadians always. But different schools, different strokes, different kinds of ways. No, you don't. But my favorites are the Canadian nurses. Like, are your nurses Canadian?
Why
I don't know
Canadian
why,
nurses?
because the Canadian nurses, there's like this pipeline out to the world of Canadian nurses. I love them to death. I mean,
I've
some
met
of my
quite a
best
few
friends
Canadian
are
nurses and
Canadians.
international, and they're
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 everywhere.
fun. They're
Okay,
fun.
I
I've
need
been to
to know more about
seven schools, and I've had probably 5 of those had all of the nurses were all Canadian. Out of 5
That
out
is
of 7
really
schools I've been at
interesting.
on different
Yeah,
continents.
maybe they're
Crazy.
pulling them. They're pulling them, and they must be amazing. Our
They
nurse is
are amazing.
Korean. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw
Yeah.
it out there because there are
That's
some
cool.
patterns that you see the more you talk about different schools around the world. There's lots of patterns, and like we always say, it depends on the school, it depends on the country. Everybody, every school is unique, but there are some patterns that go through, right? The
And I'm enjoying
tapestry
hearing
of
these perspectives because this is my first international school, so I don't know. So this is new to
welcome to
me.
the world of international teaching, the best kept secret in education.
I
That's what we
I
are.
want
We
to
are the
keep it
best
a secret.
www.amazon.com.
You're part of the
Well,
secret. You're living
Sofi,
it.
something that you said I wanted to pick up on because you said the kids, some of the kids are a little naive about what the world is like out there. And that spoke volumes to me, where I think of especially staff children. And tell me if this is wrong in your case. Staff children who grow up overseas have no idea what like the States are, or sort of home is like, and they almost need to be re-instructed or just blatantly told, like, do not approach strangers, do not leave your purse open. Do you find that you're going to have to, or you've had to sort of instruct them before going home for summers?
Reverse culture shock. We have not been home since we moved to Korea. We have spent every break in Asia. We've been to Singapore, we've been to Thailand. Like I came over here to be here.
See the world.
Yeah, and so they are going home for the first time in December.
Awesome.
So let's see how it goes. But you're right. And they talk about it too. Like they've actually begun to say, like, we're kind of scared because we won't be able to just go to the local 7-Eleven. Like here, I can give them money and they can just go buy their snacks. And I'm like, you can't do that when we go home. Like, I'm sorry, buddy. Like, they remember what it's like living in the States, but they are definitely in for a shock when we get back, for sure. Especially Los Angeles. I mean, come on, it's a little crazy.
Well, the friends that I have with families, they sit down. I mean, Matt, the family guy, one of our founders of this show, he has 4 boys, and they have to sit down in the early years when they first start going home. They would have to talk about it. Every time they went home, they'd have to sit down and say, here, remember what we're going to do. You're not leaving your backpack there. You're not leaving your iPad sitting there without looking at it. You're not going anywhere without your brother or without me. And it's it's safety's sake, because our country's a different world. It really is.
Thank you for saying that. I need to do that. It's not.
And doing it now to remind them at dinner time and just bring things up. And it's just like so that they're not like smacked with it. It's a good reminder for yourself, according to what I understand. It's a good reminder for you as the parent to remember you just can't give your kid the, $5 to go down and get it, because they, it's,
Thank you
I have to remember
that.
I have to remember to lock my car door. I have to remember when I go back to the States, I have to remember that I can't just go out and walk anywhere I want at night in certain cities. I can't just if I get pulled over, I have to think about certain things. I have to think about personal safety in a much different way because of the bubble I live in. And it's hard to get that. Like walking around, I went to the bathroom today at Starbucks and I left my computer, my phone, my book bag, my wallet, everything sitting right there. And I went up and got to the bathroom. I mean, if I set foot in the States or anywhere outside of this country, I go through this mental checklist, but I've been doing it for years, like 25 years. So as JP, we walk through this whole thing like I'm going somewhere else. I need to put my wallet in my front pocket, or my purse needs to go around my shoulder over my head, instead of being in Korea, or instead of being in, right?
Can I ask, you asked me what it was like when I got off the plane and I was in Korea. What is it like getting off the plane in America again after being abroad? I don't know.
Good question.
What is it?
Or Canada, right? JP, take that one.
I'm gonna just be the Canucky here a little bit and say it's very different. So stepping off the plane in the States and stepping off the plane in Canada is actually very, very different. Every time I go into the States, I remember the first time we went over the bridge, because a lot of times Canada and the US are connected with bridges because they're over water. So we were crossing from Windsor into Detroit. And, Detroit has a reputation even in the States, but in Canada, it has a real reputation. And my parents, said, roll up the windows. And I was like, whoa, okay. We're like rolling up the windows and locking the doors, and we're not stopping until we find someplace safe to stop. And I just remember thinking, holy cow, where are we? And it's a little bit of that when you land. It's like, okay, we gotta stay together and watch people and sort of stay on guard. And I wouldn't say that's the case in Canada. When you step off, you don't need to. It's somewhere actually it's somewhere in between, because I still wouldn't leave my laptop in a Starbucks, but I don't need to watch my stuff as much as, say, places like Mexico or South America. I can be a little bit more loosey-goosey in Canada
with your things. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, here I use my phone to hold my table. So it's my computer. I'm I'm sitting here, I'm going to go order my coffee, kind of like how you mentioned. So we'll see how it goes. It should be interesting.
Phone gone within 24 hours of landing in the States.
Gone.
Well, I have a different tact. I have a different tact or different way of answering your question, because it's not about safety. I would think, if I think back to the time that I didn't go home for 3 years at one point in my journey. And I remember going back and saying to myself a couple things. It was even getting on the airplane. There were a lot of white people. Color of my skin, likeness to my skin, or even dark skin, right? I was not used to being around African American, around any other color except the color of the people that were in the country I was in at the time. I think a good example would be Cambodia, right? They're all really short. They're Asian. Right. They're much different.
We're going to write a letter of apology to the Cambodians.
No, there's no apology at all. This is in general.
They're all short.
Yeah. In general. No, they really are. If you think about it scientifically, and very I love Cambodia. I had so much fun there. But when I got on that airplane and I went back home, I was just there's people that look like me. There's people that are not only that, but it went different. So far as the language. We were talking about Korean earlier on, and you're learning their language. So I go back home and I'm like, I'm not tuning out other conversations, because when you don't speak the language, or when you're learning this language, your brain gets really tired. Just every moment of the day, when you're embedded in the culture and everybody's speaking the other language of that country, you sort of tune out a lot of conversations, because you can't always be on with the translation in your brain, right?
Right.
So I went home, and even on the plane and then in the airport, I'm like, at one point I just froze, and I was like, this is so weird. And I didn't, it was overwhelming, because I understood the conversation that was going on over there, the one close to me, the one in back of me.
It's overstimulation.
Right. And this is a really homogenous Green Bay, for example, which is Midwest, which is very, it's very white Catholic, Protestant, right? It's very homogenous in the north there, in the Midwest. So for me to get off the airplane and see all of these people that looked like me, sort of like the middle school years of growing up, and I understood the languages, it was so weird. So that's my
I have a
take
story
on it.
about that.
Ooh,
So
story time.
one time I took my mom out for lunch I was in Ottawa in Canada, and I took my mom out for lunch after having been gone for, I never leave for more than like 10, 11 months at most. I always called it recharging my Canadian battery. So I'd have to go in the summer, I'd recharge my Canadian battery, and then I'd go back out to wherever. And that allowed me to stay overseas for 20 years or 25, because I just felt like I needed to go home
That was
and
your
reconnect.
level.
Yeah. So one of those times, 11 months out of the country, and now I'm back in my hometown with my mom in a diner, and I'm talking about somebody at a table nearby in English. And my mom looks at me and she goes, everybody can understand you right now. And I thought,
they understand you.
Oh, wow. I cannot talk about people in front of them anymore.
Shame on you,
When it occurred to
JP.
me. No, it's just,
let's take a moment here,
and see,
listeners, and Sophie. Let's give her a little.
I didn't know.
I need to say something here. You have to realize that I've learned this overseas. You know this, JP. You speak several languages, but you cannot speak about somebody out loud thinking that they don't speak the language that you chose to speak in, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to turn around and go, "Excuse me," right? Don't you dare get
been very good.
No,
it could have been very good. As far as I know, it could have been like, look at that beautiful coat that she's wearing, but I probably not, because my mom would not chastise me.
Don't let me go down that story. We don't have enough time in this episode to talk about the dangers of speaking in another language thinking that other people don't understand. We have to be very careful
vice versa.
about that.
I love when I hear, oh my gosh, on an elevator in China, I heard somebody talking about my booty, and I turned around and I said something back in Chinese, and he was like, whoa, we understand Chinese.
Yeah, she's multilingual. We're all multilingual here, so it's very interesting. I digress. Yeah. So let's get back to Sophie's stories.
So what are your thoughts? You're going to go home in December. What are you excited to try? The reverse culture shock aside, what are you excited to see and try? And
okay, this is bad, but I feel like I'm just gonna be like craving Korean stuff.
Wow.
But I've been craving things that I never ate. Like I never ate Taco Bell or Chipotle, but I'm like, oh man, I would love to have a Baja
You're gonna run for the border right away.
You're gonna run for the border.
Like I would love to just have something that I never, like Wingstop. Like I know there's a Wingstop in Seoul, but there's none in Busan. I'm like, I want some good lemon pepper wings and some decent ranch. I think
food is the thing that we tend to miss, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, like being able to, I would say have small talk, but I say people in Busan are into the small talk. Like small talk happens in the elevator. But I think, yeah, in America, you're talking with the cashier, you're, chit-chatting with somebody who maybe has a pair of shoes on that you like. It just feels you feel a bit more connected to society when you speak the common language. And I think I am looking forward to feeling connected in that way. Like I was talking to a friend of mine who recently moved back to America from Korea, and she was like, I've been talking so much more. She's like, I didn't realize how quiet I was in Korea just because I wasn't talking to people. I didn't speak Korean, so I was quiet. And she's like, I have just been talking. And I think for me, like, I just look forward to talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are your kids looking forward to? Have they been able to express that at all?
They are looking forward to seeing their friends that they had to leave behind. So that was hard. They had a tight community of friends in Los Angeles that we had to like say goodbye to. So they're excited to reconnect with friends. They're excited to like go to all of like their like Trader Joe's and the Grove and just places where we used to spend a lot of time.
You're also
So that's,
from warm places, right? Miami and Los Angeles,
yeah,
they're warm relatively compared to the
yeah,
climate in Korea, if I'm not mistaken. So I can
yeah.
imagine you're going back in December, you're leaving the Korean
Yes.
winter and you're heading
Yeah.
back to warm territory. That's got to be, for me, it's sort of like the opposite. I'm going from the desert heat where it's 100 degrees going back
Oh,
to
the
sub-zero in
cold.
Green Bay in December. But
Wow.
that's happened. And I think you'll notice the changes in weather at some
Mm-hmm.
point. You're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that. And you'll notice things from your neighborhood that you left that you didn't notice
Mm-hmm.
before. That's another thing you were asking
Mm-hmm.
about with the reverse culture shock. But
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting that it affects you. Little things are going to affect you differently,
I
and
guess
you're going to
smells.
notice,
Yeah.
yeah, and you'll notice
Mm-hmm.
things that you never noticed
Mm-hmm.
before because you've
You
been gone
become
from it
you
for so
become an
long.
observer of your own
You
country and your
are,
own culture. Yeah.
Yeah,
and you'll be,
I can
yeah.
see that. Yeah, like whoa, like yeah, I can see that will happen for sure. I don't know. I'm just like looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Another
Well, I
thing,
applaud you for staying out for so long. That is
uh,
incredible. Did you have
I'm
your
missing
mom come
home
and
now.
visit you at
Yes.
some point? Okay.
My mom comes often. She just
Okay.
left like a month ago. She was here for 2.5 months.
Ah,
So
nice.
she loves Korea too. So she has been here like 4 times. So yes, my mom does come visit, which is really nice.
And that's one of the reasons why you could stay away for so long in a sense, because
Yeah.
um I think women are built a little different too, Sophie. Like Greg has talked about sometimes not going home, for years,
yeah,
and
but
it's
I'm
just
single and,
but
my
it's
family's
unheard of,
close.
I think, amongst women. It's like, no, we got to go home and see our friends and our family. But I've heard more often than not a lot of guys just say, no, I haven't been home for like five.
No,
I have
I
some
don't
clients,
have
they say
friends.
10 years. Like 10 years you haven't been home? but
10
but
years.
if the family comes, that makes a difference. Then it
Yeah.
allows you to stay
True.
out, I think.
Yeah, but I am definitely at the point where I'm like, I need to get out of Korea for a little bit. I'm finally feeling it. And I
Oh.
think the boys too need to sort of touch foot on, back with friends and family. Their dad is in Los Angeles, and so they need to just sort of like have that time too, and reintegrate a little bit. And I think they also need a break from Korea too. Like I can feel it. So I think now is the perfect time for the
You
trip to
might
happen.
become a little bit more homesick after you've gone back once. It might
Yeah.
come back a little bit earlier, but maybe you'll change up a little bit. Maybe you'll end up going back more frequently after you've done a long
Mm,
break because you realize there's
maybe.
a lot you've left. There's a lot of positive, there's a lot of negative, and that's what
Yeah.
my point is. You're going to, from my experience, you're going to see, all of you are going to see that it's
Yeah.
gonna hit you a different way, so be prepared for it. You might just have to have some quiet time one of those days. Like your friends want to go out, your kids want to do this, that. They might just want to sit there on the couch and veg for a while because
Mm.
it's all coming in, and you think that you're
Sensory
going to jump
overload.
right back into something that is normal, but it's
Mhm.
no longer the same. It's no longer
Yeah.
normal, and those little things. I mean, I remember thinking, "Oh my God, the doorknobs." Right? Reverse culture shock.
Mm.
I came from a
Yes.
country that had like
Doors.
door handles, and I went back home and there's a door handle, the door knob with the lock on it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I sat down and said, "Oh my God, I'm so confused. What's happening to me?" And it's
But it's so
because
cute.
all the little things that were,
Yeah.
it was no longer normal. It was, I don't know how to
Yeah, that's
explain it any better
no, I
than that.
get it.
It's,
I get it because Korea has keypads. We don't have a key. Like I don't need a key.
Mhm.
So so America, there was always a key to look for. Here, that's one less thing I've had to worry about. I don't have to look for keys. Like I just come to my door, put my code in and enter. So that's definitely going to be something that's a shock, I think. Here
and you just
also
got used to it there.
elevators.
Yeah.
Yeah, elevators, like you can push the button. Like if you push that you're going to the 17th floor, then change your mind, you can push the button and it cancels.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah, or double tap or something,
logic.
right?
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
Mhm.
America doesn't have that. So if you push 22, you're going to 22.
Do they
You're
have the
committed.
13th floor there? Do you know that they don't have 13th floor in the
And
U.S.?
I think in no in
Do
most
you
I
have the
think in most
13th floor?
countries.
Yeah, they do have the
Yeah,
13th
and a
floor.
lot of countries do have the 13th floor. And while we're talking elevators, my mind goes like this. When you go to the first floor, does that mean you're on the basement floor, like the ground floor,
one?
Yes,
and then the
you are on the
first
ground
floor?
floor.
I get confused. I
First,
don't even know where I'm at anymore because some
yeah,
countries, the first floor is the ground floor and the second
yeah,
floor is the next one up. And other countries have
yeah.
the first floor is not the ground floor. You know what I
That's
mean?
like
It's
it is. It's
confusing.
that way in the mall. And I was in the mall today, and I was like, somebody told me to go to B1, and I was just like, I was turned around because the first floor was really like not the first floor. So they must have thought I was crazy, but I was like, where am I? I thought I was
It
on
won't
the
clear
first
up in 20
floor.
years. Your next 25
Just
years
like,
overseas, like JP and I, if you've been
Take it from
overseas for a
us. We're
while, it's
still confused.
nope, we're still
just like,
confused. It
okay.
doesn't you get normalized into the idea of the state of confusion, right?
I was
And
just
exploring.
about to say that. It becomes the norm to just be okay. And I think that's the beauty of this life is you become more comfortable in the unknowing and in trusting
Yeah.
yourself to figure it out.
And that's part of the adventure. That is
Yeah.
part of the adventure of living overseas is the
Yeah.
unknown and figuring stuff out when you
And all that
have
travel
no
you've done
idea.
already, the different countries you've gone to, there's so many
Yeah.
different little nuances and big differences in other countries that
Yeah.
you've been to already traveling to, right? While you've been
Yeah.
away for 3 years.
Right. Yeah. There
International is
are.
great, isn't it?
It's just
Woo!
And here's
amazing.
another reverse culture shock, Sophie. So another reverse culture shock is you go overseas, you have all these experiences, you change, then you
Mm-hmm.
come back to your hometown or to your life back home, and you realize it looks different, but you're the one that's changed.
Changed.
Nothing else
Yeah.
has really
Just the
changed.
gas
And
station around the corner changed hands. It went from this to that, but everything else is the same. And you come
you're
back
trying
thinking,
Yeah.
to you're
wow.
trying to say, like, how is this still the same when I've changed so much? But then you're having to deal with that feeling of feeling
Yeah.
disjointed in your own
Yeah.
hometown.
I think that that's what I'm scared of. Like, I think I'm scared to go back, right? Because this life is so exciting and so different. And it kind of becomes a part of your identity in a lot of ways. Like, I'm the foreigner living in this town. And then you sort of like go back home and everybody's the same, has the same mindset, but you have changed in so many ways. And I
Two
think
different
I
hats.
will just get like, oh, like I don't want to be here. Like I just want to go back. Like I don't know. Like I'm
No,
scared.
you'll have two hats. Okay, here's what my advice is.
Tell
And I
me
think
about
JP's
that.
like this too. Okay, so when I go back home, I have close friends that I wear my hat of international teacher, and I don't. I mean, I don't worry about my boundaries because I've kept in touch with them. Or your mom, for example, you don't have to
Yeah,
explain everything. Then I have the
yeah.
other hat on, and I'm just still here, and it's like I never left, and I just teach out of
Mm,
state because I don't want to go
mm,
down that road of explaining every little thing. And
everything.
they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you live in Korea? You teach English?" And you're like, "No." So
Now.
no offense, but there's some people that will never relate to what you do or your
Yeah,
experiences. And then there's
yeah.
other people that do. And then you put on the hat of the international educator, the
Mm,
international counselor with your boys
mm,
living in the middle of Korea. And it's all different.
mm,
So for
mm.
me, it's been that way that whatever hat you're wearing, you can adjust. It's more fun though, don't be scared. I think my advice
Okay.
would be, and I'm so full of advice this episode, but I love this topic
I
because
welcome all
reverse
of it.
culture shock. Yeah, reverse culture shock is awesome because you're more than anything, your eyes are open to change and what didn't change, and you're going to be noticing little things. You're a foreigner in your
Mm,
own home, so to speak,
right.
your own country, and yet you're safe because you've grown up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you feel like you're a little worried that you're not going to fit in or people won't understand, but you're not. You just think about what you have done. I mean, you got off an
Okay.
airplane with your two kids and your mom.
Yep.
You went to a completely different country. everyone's speaking different languages. You've never traveled maybe that far with your kids before. I mean, everything was lightning speed when you first landed. Think about that first year that you went through. That's more hardship than I think the average person that you know has ever been through. That's one reason they can't relate to it. But that's the other reason that you shouldn't be even a little bit skin prickly. You shouldn't be a little bit worried about going home because it's home. So if that reassures you, we've done it. JP and I have done this many times, and it's fun. It's a fun worry. It's a fun thing. Like, what's changing?
It's like putting on a really comfortable pair of pajamas, you know, so
that still fit.
That still fit. Hopefully still fit. Okay. But you're just like, oh, that feels good. But they might have holes in them. They might be like, you know, it's time to like.
You just forgot what it felt like to wear them. Yeah.
Okay, I like the analogy of the two hats and the pajamas. Like, so I think that will sort of help me. That really helps me sort of in a sensory way.
You can even wear both hats at the same time in the same group of people.
Titleist is really popular brand in Korea, so I love that you're wearing that hat.
Matt, the Family Guy, bought me that.
Here. Very popular.
Good. Yeah,
and this is a Green Bay Meats, Maplewood Meats. Right? Hey, we're getting to the end of our time, though. You know what? And I want to talk to you for another 3 hours. I really do.
I know.
I had a lot of fun chatting with you guys.
But we're not over yet. We have a couple of questions that I know we would love to hear some answers to. So when you hopped on the plane from LA to Korea, what were 3 things that you brought with you without heartbeats, so no kids or pets, but that you felt like, I better take these with us so that we feel like home?
Oh yeah. Okay. Stuffies. I brought the kids stuffies.
Like stuffed
animals.
Stuffed animals, Plushies, stuffies. Yeah.
Okay.
Plushies, stuffed animals. Oh, foundation. Because I can't find brown foundation here, so I brought so much, and I literally just ran out.
Wow.
That's a makeup, right?
That was a must.
A makeup base.
3 years of foundation. Wow.
I had to bring makeup. I did re-up in Thailand, but yeah, there's no like, there's now a little bit, but not as much. And then a third thing. Ooh. What's a third thing that I just had to have? Let me get back to you on a third thing. I can't think of a third thing.
It's not a defined.
Some people say spices because they want to have something familiar, like if they have a.
Don't give her ideas.
Recipe.
Let her think about it.
No,
I want to go on to my next question.
Okay, all right. Greg has his question.
Well, you don't have to have an answer for all 3. That's
Okay.
There's been some pretty mind-boggling ones. If you go back and listen to our episodes, there are some mind-boggling answers to that question. It's really, some are like right away they know it, and other people like think about it and don't even have an answer, and that's okay.
There are things that when I go to America, I know I will bring with me that I didn't know I would need.
You'll pack them back, mule them back.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our other question. You can think about this. You may not have an answer, but I think you do. And that is, do you have any kind of a customs or police story, G-rated, of course, nothing to get you in trouble? Do you have any authority stories in your travels that you've been on?
No? Is that boring?
No, but that's interesting.
That's not boring. No. That's fine.
No,
don't worry about it. You don't need to.
I've never had a run-in where you had to sort of explain,
run-in with the law.
Sorry, we don't do it like this. We do it like this. And
no.
Don't worry about it. No, listen to it. You know what? You'll have plenty the more you stay overseas, because I don't think you're going to be heading back to the U.S. permanently for a long time. You sound like one of us that's just, it's the thing to do. Stay overseas, go back, visit once in a while, go back to another country. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's okay if you don't have one.
I feel like I'm missing out.
Oh, you're not. No, you don't need to be. You don't need police stories to tell you the truth.
You don't need to be looking for police stories. Believe me, they come to you without even knowing. But no, I mean, I think also it goes with that you probably don't drive, right, Sophie in Busan?
I do drive.
What?
Ooh.
I
Oh,
do have a
know that.
car.
Oh, I wouldn't have
I
pictured
have
that.
gotten pulled over once. I've gotten pulled over once, but it was just like he didn't speak enough English, so he was just like, never mind.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go. Yep.
Well, listen, when
Gotten
you do have a police story, I need you to reach out to us and do a quick episode just to share the story, or stay on for another 2 hours and share
Well,
life.
you know what?
can
We would
tell
love to
stories.
hear. Check this out. We would love to hear, if you want to come back on in the spring sometime, we would love to hear how that visit home went with your kids, the reverse culture shock. Because I think our listeners are going to love this episode for the fact that it was very concentrated on one country, because you've been to you've stayed for 3 years in Korea. So it's kind of like the Korean episode, but we don't often do that. So that's a lot of fun. But also the reverse culture shock, like talking about going back home and what are we going to notice and what are we going to feel strange about? What are we going to have to watch out for? So now you could come back and say, okay, so we lost our wallet in the first 2 days. But this good stuff happens. So yeah, it would be great to reconnect, and you can come up with that third thing, like, oh yeah, now I know the third thing was this.
Go listen to some of our past episodes or watch some of our video episodes.
Yes,
it's fun, and we have a whole collection. We've been doing this for 5 years. So imagine the stories that you can get onto and listen. It's usually towards the end of the episode we ask those 2 questions. And that's just an idea for the listeners too, or watchers. Is that there's
I just noticed you changed your hat. You went back to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, magically, why not?
You were white hat guy.
Thank you so much for the advice.
Before we sign off, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners, especially any counselors out there that are thinking of, geez, is there an opportunity out there for me?
I would encourage counselors to definitely consider working abroad. If you have an open mind, if you are curious, if you are adventurous, definitely consider international school counseling as an option.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, final thoughts, JP.
Well, I kind of felt like I summarized, this is a great episode with new topic. Like, we dug in deep to Korea. I really want to thank Sophie for coming on the show. This is not just International Teacher Podcast. It's International Counselor Podcast. It's International Educator Podcast. It's for everyone. And so we really are happy that you reached out to come on. I think it was really enlightening, and we'd love to have you back and hear about, the adventure of going home for the first time in 3 years. So thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you
Sophie,
so much.
before I do a little last word thing, wrap up, do you have any social media, or do you have a way of people contacting you if they have a question about international counselor, or you want them to send it to us?
Send it to you. I recently got off of all social media, and that's a whole nother topic, but yeah, I did have a really fun
they want to get in touch with you.
I don't have it anymore. Yeah. Okay. So they
go through the ITP, send us an email, jump on the website, get in touch with you that way.
What's that email address again, Greg?
Oh, I don't know. That's in like the mid notes,
I
right?
know. We haven't said it for so long. I forgot. It doesn't matter because teacherpodcast@gmail.com, I think.
Yeah, but in between there's that whole, like, we put a little blurb in the middle somewhere, right?
Go back and listen to the ad, folks.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. This episode we have been talking with Sophie, and she's been in with her kids, and she's been in Korea for 3 years. So thank you for being on our show. You're an international teacher counselor, and it sounds so much fun. It sounds very safe to be in Korea. Teachers looking at overseas, think about Korea. It sounds like a dream for families, right? Yes. You can find her. You can reach out to Sophie anywhere by going through the International Teacher Podcast website. And then if you want to get in touch with JP Mint, we'd like to say thank you to JP for being on our show. Yeah, JP, it's been a pleasure. You're jpmintconsulting.com. You can jump on her website. You can find my app on the App Store as of yesterday. So, Sophie, go get your copy. It's on the App Store. There's an elephant.
And what's it called?
It's called What Student? ?
What student ?
Name and face. I don't know what the subtitle is, but it's called What Student ? And it's got a pink elephant on it. Anyway, that is Greg the App Guy / Greg the Single Guy. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you